They called it the off-season, but nothing about it felt quiet. The storm that began with a whisper had turned into thunder. The Chief and Bill's scandal was no longer a rumor, it was a reckoning. Television networks couldn't stop talking about it. Talk shows dissected every quote, every leaked message, every shadow of guilt that hung over the Kansas City Chiefs and Buffalo Bills. The NFL promised full cooperation, but behind closed doors, power brokers were already rewriting the story. In downtown Washington, a private meeting convened in a hotel suite under the name Sports Integrity Council. It wasn't on the calendar, and no press was allowed. At the head of the table sat Thomas "Tommy" Rourke, looking older, paler, yet still dangerous. Across from him was a man known only as Harrington, a corporate attorney representing the league's biggest investors. Between them sat a laptop looping a video clip of Dana Reeves' last broadcast. "She's a liability," Harrington said flatly. Rourke didn't respond. He just stared at the screen, the ghost of a smirk crossing his face. "She's not the problem," Rourke finally muttered. "The problem is the illusion. They still think the game is clean. That's the only thing keeping the money flowing." Outside that room, the illusion was already cracking. Operation Blitz, the FBI's covert unit, had started turning over stones. 2 data firms in Nevada were raided. Offshore accounts were frozen. A whistleblower inside the league's digital analytics department claimed that game probabilities had been subtly altered before broadcast feeds, an algorithm that favored certain betting lines. No one believed him until he showed them the timestamps. His name, Ryan Keller, a systems analyst with no criminal record and no desire for fame. He had gone public on an independent podcast, voice disguised, claiming the NFL's own data stream was being hijacked to manipulate betting margins. "It's not about fixing games," he said. "It's about steering emotion. You make people believe the impossible comeback is always one play away. That's how you keep them spending." The podcast went viral. 48 hours later, Keller disappeared. The FBI knew it wasn't coincidence. They found his car near Lake Mead, doors unlocked, laptop missing. His ID was still inside the glove compartment. To Agent Laura Grant, the lead investigator for Operation Blitz, it was the first real link between digital interference and organized betting. She was a career agent, disciplined, relentless, and allergic to corruption. Grant didn't trust headlines. She trusted data. And everything in Keller's recovered phone logs pointed back to Rourke's old consultancy and a mysterious offshore entity named Pacific Crown Holdings. Meanwhile, Dana Reeves was living like a fugitive. She had moved twice, changed numbers, and learned to sleep in bursts of 2 hours. Her investigation was bigger than she ever imagined. She had traced Rourke's digital trail across 5 continents, each shell company connecting to another through sponsorship deals, equipment vendors, or fan engagement platforms. She wasn't chasing football anymore. She was chasing organized crime disguised as sport. One night, she received a call from an unknown number. The voice said, "Stop digging, Dana. The broker doesn't miss twice." Then silence. Reeves recorded the call and sent it to a friend in the press, but it never reached him. The file was intercepted mid-transfer. She knew what that meant. Someone inside the system was watching every move. At the same time, tensions were erupting on the field. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen had become reluctant symbols of a fractured sport. Both men denied involvement in any scandal, but their names kept appearing in redacted documents and betting analysis threads. Fans chose sides #Mahames Mob versus #Allen Army, each accusing the other of being part of the script. Commentators mocked, calling it a conspiracy theater, but the sentiment stuck. The NFL had a new religion: distrust. When preseason camp resumed, Mahomes seemed off. His private trainer noticed tremors in his hands. He blamed exhaustion. But weeks later, his financial advisor was found dead in his home, apparent suicide. The police ruled it clean. The press moved on. Yet Agent Grant's unit found something odd in the man's records. Encrypted payments tied to a subsidiary of Pacific Crown Holdings, the same name from Keller's notes. Meanwhile in Buffalo, Josh Allen was under pressure from both management and family. His older brother, Cody, had become entangled in a crypto sports platform, promising fan betting rewards. When the platform collapsed, millions vanished. A congressional committee labeled it a fraudulent sponsorship loop. Cody claimed innocence, but evidence showed his startup had received seed money from a Cayman account traced back to Rourke's firm. Josh tried to stay out of it, but guilt leaked through every interview. "I just want to play the game, right?" he told reporters, eyes red. "But I don't even know what right means anymore." The rivalry had turned radioactive. Every matchup between the Bills and Chiefs carried the weight of conspiracy. Sponsors fled, yet paradoxically, ratings soared. The public couldn't look away. It was the perfect blend of sport and scandal, the spectacle America couldn't quit. Behind the scenes, Operation Blitz was running out of time. A congressional subcommittee wanted results. Agent Grant needed leverage. That's when an encrypted email landed in her inbox subject line. Proof of life. It contained a single attachment, a photo of Ryan Keller, bruised but alive, sitting in what looked like a foreign basement. The metadata led to Zurich. Grant booked a flight within hours. Back in Kansas City, Rourke was fighting his own war. His empire was collapsing under audits and subpoenas. The broker, his phantom partner, was demanding loyalty. "You've drawn too much light," said a voice on Rourke's burner phone. "We're cutting ties. You're a liability now." Then the line went dead. For the first time, Rourke felt real fear. He poured himself a drink and looked out over the city. "You built them gods," he whispered to himself, "and they turned you into a ghost." Dana Reeves resurfaced that same week with a video upload titled "The Deep Game." In it, she connected all the dots: the money, the algorithms, the players, the dead whistleblowers. "This isn't about football anymore," she said into the camera. "This is about power. And when power loses control, it burns everything." The video streamed for 12 hours before being taken down. Copies flooded Reddit and dark web mirrors. Millions watched before it vanished. Then came the game that would define everything. November 2025. Chiefs versus Bills. A winter storm blanketed Arrowhead Stadium. Security was doubled. FBI surveillance vans circled nearby, watching for signals tied to the broker's network. The energy was electric, desperate, dangerous. Both quarterbacks knew this wasn't just another rivalry match. It was the stage where truth and deception would collide. First quarter slow, second quarter explosive. By halftime, the score was tied. In the stands, Agent Grant's team intercepted a transmission between two anonymous accounts. It mentioned Package Z and end of game delivery. She didn't yet know what it meant. but she recognized one name on the encryption key: Tommy Rourke. Late in the fourth, with Buffalo leading by 4, Mahomes dropped back for one final drive. Cameras flashed. Millions watched. Then, in the chaos of the play, the stadium screens flickered, static. For 7 seconds, the broadcast feed went dark nationwide. When it returned, Mahomes was on the turf, motionless. Silence spread like smoke. Medical staff rushed in. Replays were inconclusive. Some claimed he was struck after the whistle. Others said he fell alone. But what drew more questions was the brief blackout, exactly 7 seconds, just like the timestamp in the broker's communication logs. Up in the press box, Dana Reeves was watching live. She whispered, "It's happening again." By midnight, social media exploded. Conspiracy threads flooded every platform. "The broker killed the game," one tweet read. "Mahomes knew too much," said another. The NFL released a statement. Patrick Mahomes suffered a non-life-threatening cardiac episode due to dehydration. A few believed it. The blackout, the timing, the whispers, it all felt orchestrated. Meanwhile, in Zurich, Rourke's penthouse sat empty. The FBI arrived hours too late. On his desk, they found a note scrawled in blue ink. "If you're reading this, you've already lost. The broker is real, and he's American." Back in the States, Agent Grant returned from Zurich with one decrypted message from an account linked to Pacific Crown Holdings. It listed coordinates, a date, and one final line: kickoff, January 8, 2026. That date corresponded with the AFC Championship Bills versus an undecided opponent, assuming they qualified. Reeves received the same message through a proxy inbox minutes later. She stared at it, knowing what it meant. "They're not done," she said softly. "They're setting the final act." As winter deepened, Mahomes remained hospitalized under heavy security. Allen's interviews grew erratic. He began quoting Bible verses about betrayal and judgment. The public called him unstable, but those who'd seen behind the curtain knew he was scared. Towards the end of the football season, the NFL's illusion was shattered. Betting markets trembled, sponsors bailed, and yet the ratings broke records. Humanity couldn't look away from its own corruption. It was no longer about football, it was about faith in systems, and the realization that every system bleeds. As the clock ticked toward January 8th, Dana Reeves prepared her final report, a live expose she planned to release minutes before kickoff. She called it the Broker Files, but the night before, her apartment door was left ajar. Her laptop sat open, still recording. A faint sound played in the background, a male voice whispering, "You wanted the truth? Now you'll live with it." The screen went black. This was no longer a rivalry, but the unraveling of an empire. Next, episode 3, The Broker Revealed.